The seats match the table. Because the seats are like, woo. Oh, these are so cute. Yeah.
Okay, shall I join?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How,
Look at that, it works.
it worked.
Hi, how are you? I'm
Hi.
Ann. It's nice to meet you. Uh-oh, she's frozen. Oh, you're frozen. Uh-oh. I am a robot.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
you were a little frozen.
I just had to put it on airplane mode, or otherwise my morning people will start buzzing in. Even though I said I'm going to be busy this morning,
Oh,
they
that's a good idea.
still,
You should probably do that too. I know. I never thought that was a good way to
yeah.
handle that. Yeah. Smart.
Otherwise, they'll just be buzzing in. I check in with all my people in the morning, so I haven't done
Got
that
it.
yet. So,
Ann's phone's been going nuts. So. Yeah, I might have to figure that out. Not today, though. Not right now. But one thing at a time. How are
right.
you? Yeah.
I'm good. Look at this snow. We woke
I
up to a
know.
little bit of snow dusting, huh?
We're back to winter. Yep. It is
Uh,
February,
yeah,
but
I
yeah.
know.
Don't point out the obvious. That's not helpful.
Right. I
I
think
know.
we are all excited for
Yeah,
spring.
definitely. Oh, is that mine? Or is that those little notices down there? What is that?
Oh my gosh.
I think people are just talking to us. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is a new split screen. So yeah, so we tried something new this morning. Thankfully, Shelly agreed to trial this with us. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So all your people, who are all your people? Like what, tell us about that.
Well, my parents, they live in northern Michigan. And so I check on them every morning. And so, hi, mom and dad. They're probably not online yet. And then my husband usually checks in. He's already up and at 'em since, he's probably been on the road since 5 this morning. So, yeah, he's probably doing lunch right about now. So that's when we check in. How's it going? So we've all battled this stupid flu that's been going around. Oh my goodness. So, it's his first week back and my first week trying to catch up. So it's been, gosh, it just really knocked the wind right out of us. But we're all better now. So yeah,
Good.
so we're good.
Great. Good. Yeah, it definitely is going around. I was just talking to someone else yesterday who was like went to the ER or the urgent care. It was like, I can't do this anymore. Give me
Oh my
something. This
gosh.
same flu. Yeah. And it's super.
Yeah, it's bad. It just knocked you right down. But
Yeah.
anyways, we're on the mend.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm feeling better.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
we looked at this, sent us a bunch of stuff about what you've been up to for the last, well, for a long while, like your story that you said from like how you got where you are now and where you started, and the journey is really interesting, and all the different curves and twists and turns. And
Oh yeah.
do you have a Reader's Digest version that you could
Yeah,
share?
I'll give you that. It's so hard. That's like my biggest challenge, right? I have so much stuff in that gets to be packed into here, just make this into one sentence.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, my marketing people just probably want to pull their hair out because I'm like, I don't know how to say that. And I am a girl of many words, so it's really hard for me to take it down and put it into this small little package.
Yeah.
But in a nutshell, I'll do my best. So I am only 36. I'm just kidding. So I started doing hair and my entrepreneurial journey. I was 19 and I opened up my first business. My dad, kind of a funny story. Every little thing that I've done, there's had a funny story to it. So I'll try to make them really short and sweet. But I said to my dad, I got out of high school and I said, I want to go to beauty school. I'm going to go do hair like my mom, I guess, because what else am I going to do? I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I didn't like school that much. So I'm like, I can't go in, and then I had to put a rabbit down, one of my pet rabbits down. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do that. I just couldn't handle that. If I had to put animals down, I just couldn't do it. So I decided I couldn't be a veterinarian. Then I thought I'd be a lawyer. Well, my dad's like, yeah, that'd be great, but you're going to have to go to school. You're going to have to go to college for that. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that either. And he goes, yeah, I don't want you to either. I really don't think you're going to be the college kind of girl. I'm worried about you going. So how about this? I have he had built a new plaza on M59 and he had some empty spaces. And I said, I think I'm going to do a tanning salon. He goes, okay, well, bring me the business plan and we'll go from there. Now you have to think back then we didn't have the internet like we do today. We didn't have it at all. So how do you build I was just 19, just graduated high school. I'm just finishing beauty school. I'm doing hair. I'm getting ready to start my job in Clarkston. So I went to school out in Walled Lake. I lived in West Bloomfield, Walled Lake area. And so I'm moving to Clarkston in my adult life doing hair. And then I decided, there's got to be more than this because I'm just sitting around waiting for clients to come. So I think I need to do something else. And my dad said, well, put together a business plan. I go to put a business plan together. I decided a tanning salon. So I go to the tanning salons all around the area, which they were such a new thing. There were only a few. And so I looked at magazines. I called people in the back of magazines. I even looked up an encyclopedia and went to the library to find out how to do it. I mean, can you imagine? So, anyways, I did all this. My dad, I said, okay, I think I need this much money. He said, okay, well, now I want you to go to the bank and ask for that money. I'm like, well, isn't he your friend? Can't you just he's like, no, you go up there. Well, little did I know they had cocktails together the night before and said, my daughter's coming in. So make her go through the ringer.
Right.
And I got in my mom's suit and I went there and I did all the things and I got the loan and I was like, well, now what?
Yeah.
So I put together this tanning salon and I was building a tanning salon and I was doing hair in Clarkston. So I was crossing over clientele and all of that. So I learned really, really quick how to just cross promote. And this was like grassroots cross promote. And, I only had so much money to get me through. I was not going to be, how am I going to make this tanning salon profitable? Oh, yeah. And then I moved out. So, I had a new car and I had my own bills. And what am I supposed to do? So, I just busted my butt. And then, long story short, I ended up, had that tanning salon for quite a while. And then I started building my salon business, my hair business, so big that I could barely even, I was hiring people to do the tanning salon while I worked. And I just couldn't manage both of them. So my mom said, oh, I'll take over the tanning salon. So I let my mom have the tanning salon and then I continued on with my career. I ended up in my hairdressing career, I did hair for 36 years. I ended up having a big clientele. I was one of the original Glitz girls in Clarkston, so that was really cool. And I also was approached by Redken to test out some hair color. So I started testing out hair color, and I tend to go over and above anything. And I'm like, so I did this whole chart of how this color worked and blah, blah, blah. And so I wrote this report, sent it off to them, and then I gave my little mini presentation. They said, hey, do you want to be part of this team where we teach hair color to sales reps? And I'm like, okay. So I went in and did that. One thing led into another. And before you know it, I became a platform artist for Redken. So I got to travel all over the country, teaching other people how to better do hair color and basically how to sell hair color.
I think obviously nobody has that same career path as you, but I think everybody has that, where it's one foot in front of the other, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, look, all these life experiences led
Yes.
to where I am
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to hear that.
When you say,
One,
I'm just curious, like wording wise, platform artist, does that mean like a brand ambassador, a similar idea? Is that what it is?
well, I guess it would. I don't really know what a brand ambassador is, but platform artists meant back in those days that Redken hired us and would send us all around the country for hair shows.
Yeah.
and we would get up in front of audiences and teach hair color, or we would run a classroom.
Mm.
So this is a very important, the reason why I mention this is because I didn't know how to present. I didn't know, I would have thought, like, it's so funny because we all have a vision of ourselves. I always thought I was an introvert. And Katie, you've known me for a little while. I don't know if you really thought of me as an introvert. Most people
No. No.
don't think that I would be, and I am very shy. I tend to be very shy. It takes me a lot to get out and about. And I have this inner dialogue with myself. Come on, Shelly, get your butt up there and you're fine. You got this. It takes a lot for me to do that. So I had to learn how to be up in front of an audience. I had a microphone. I always wanted to be a rock star. I can't sing or dance, so I had to do something. So I had a microphone in my ear, and I was doing hair on stage with lights and smoke and music and all that cool stuff. And but I also had to teach people where they actually learned. And so Redkin brought in this guy. His name is Blair Singer, and he's one of my mentors. And he works with Robert Kiyosaki in the Rich Dad Poor Dad series. He's a very big international coach, and he teaches education. Like, it's education in a way where I don't even know the phrase of it, but you're self-learning. So it's interactive. The way that I teach is the way I was taught, and I put my own spin on it, of course. So when all this happened, I actually really loved and embraced how he taught people to learn, because there were ahas happening all over the place. People were understanding what I was teaching them, and I barely had to say much. It was just asking the right questions, bringing it out of them, and it's all inside of you, right? So, yeah, I can teach them a skill, and I can teach them a, foil pattern, but it's up to them to get into their creativity and be able to make it their own. So, I learned really, I really like embraced his way of teaching. And that's how I did everything from then on out. From, when I, had my own salon. So then I opened up my own salon, and it was in Grand Blanc, and I had that open just under 15 years. And I had, at one time we had 17 stylists. We were top 200 fastest growing salons 4 years in a row. So that was really cool for just a little tiny small salon. But I raised my staff on those found that foundation of how to bring out the best in people, wake up their creative genius and things like that. I even, with my son's now 21, and some of the tools that I learned along the way, I raised him on. And so funny that he keeps throwing things back at me like, are you taking responsibility? Are you laying blame? Are you justifying? Are you denying? So, so it comes back at me.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like when I was listening to your beginnings, like how they didn't have the internet, you had to basically figure it all out on your own, like you said. But now you're helping people do that. So it's almost, in my mind, it's like you didn't have the resources, and you figured it out, but now you're providing it to other people. Isn't that the mission? Like, to help people do this possibly a little bit easier than how you had to go about it and lay this roadmap? Is that kind of where you're at now?
Yes. So what ended up happening, I think it's important to say this, like towards the end of me grinding, I did end up, along with having the salon, I ended up building a coaching company where we did teach other businesses how to grow their business with the clients they already had. So I loved that. Do you ever have something like, you guys are doing this amazing podcast? This has got to be something that you guys are gifted at doing, and
You.
you guys are you gifted, you're actually doing your gift and the thing that was given to you to do. And yes, I was a good hairdresser, yes, I was a good owner, yes, I was a good leader, blah blah blah, everybody tells me all that stuff all the time, but I really never felt like it was fueling my soul until I get to see somebody. My dad used to always say, don't do what I do what I say. So don't do what I do what I say is kind of, it's kind of like a harsh thing to say a little bit, but really, yes, to answer your question, and it is a lot like that. I ended up grinding so much. I had, a new house, my son, my business, my marriage, my friendships. I was traveling all over the place. I had 15 employees. I blah, 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 blah. And things were changing every day. The industry was changing. We started going into that big recession. And I was like, what do I do? And my parents also owned their own business. They tore they had a bar restaurant. They tore that down and built condos right before the crash of everything. So then I not only had my businesses and my family, but I had, I was always there with my mom and dad through theirs. So it was really, really hard. So I just, I ended up getting like, what, take me away. I am done with this. I had to step back and say what's really, really important. So I closed the salon down. I sold my shares off for my coaching business. I'm like, I got to come back and start taking care of what's important. So in doing that little bit of time that was really, really difficult, I ended up breaking my ankle because I had to get a Great Dane. And, because
Go
I
big.
always wanted one, and I just needed a Great Dane, and it was what I needed to heal my heart.
Mhm.
And so I got this Great Dane, and she tripped me on my way out with my high heels and my briefcase and my lunch and all the bags I have. She tripped me. I broke my ankle severely in 3 spots, and ended up having 2 surgeries, and was in a
Do you
cast for
still have
non-recurring.
this Great Dane?
She
Yeah.
just
She
passed
did.
a
Okay.
couple years ago. She
Because
was
I know
10
I've
years
seen
old.
your dogs.
Yeah. I
Okay.
got a different
Okay.
pack now. They're just crazy. But none of them is like my Bentley girl. So my Bentley girl, she lived to be 10, and she was just my partner, and she just was awesome. So I tried to replace her with these 2 Yahoos. It's not even, I don't know what didn't work. Didn't work. That just bombed. But anyways, so what I learned through that is that, like, I see people all the time in business, and they are grinding and they are doing things and doing things, and they're making themselves sick. So I ended up getting very, very sick. I ended up finding out I had MS. I had, broken this ankle. I had two surgeries on it. It was just like, what? Stop the madness, So I ended up, I am fine now. I am walking fine. I am doing fine. I have all the things in place. I have a whole team that takes care of myself. But I won't so the question to your answer, Anne, or the answer to your question is, I just feel like I don't want people to grind it out so bad that they make themselves sick and they lose the joy that they find, right? So, oh, I have this great idea. I'm really good. And it's service providers. Service providers is who I want to help. So the service providers that are, touching people or working with people, they're building these relationships with, and they're helping them doing whatever the craft is, whether it's doing hair, or they're a dental hygienist, or they're selling insurance, or they're a massage therapist, or whatever, a photographer. You're building relationships with people, and you could go on, and people can be, let's just say it like it is, people can be draining. People can be draining. You got to be on all the time. And then let's say you go, okay, well, now I want to open up. I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good at my craft, and I am going to be a rock star at what I do. So you get all the things, you learn how to be the best at your craft. And then all of a sudden you say, okay, great. Now I'm going to open up my own. Well, then fast forward, now you're a janitor. Now you are a bookkeeper. Now you're a marketing person. Oh, now you got to learn how to be a social media expert. And oh, you got to go live on Instagram. And you don't even, you got to put your eyelashes on at 6 in the morning because you got to be ready, bright eyed and bushy tailed. And, and all of a sudden you've lost yourself because now you're not doing that craft anymore. So, and your goals change, right? So your goals change along the way. you might, start a family. You might, decide a partner comes in and gives you a great idea, and you get a meeting of the minds. And now it's all of a sudden it's like blooming into something really far bigger than yourself. Well, how do you navigate that? So what I do is I do bring my grassroots experience, because I built these businesses without the internet. I built these relationships without Facebook. I built all the things and all those experiences by getting up in the morning, getting out every single day and hitting the pavement, doing whatever it took.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's emotional.
So I know when we talked, you were talking about your goal setting, right?
Yeah.
And that's like a big focus and kind of where the whole process
Mm-hmm.
starts. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Or
so
maybe the vision is where maybe that's what we talked about is kind of identifying
right.
the vision and then going
Well,
to the goal.
so you have a goal, you have a vision, and you say, okay, I want to do whatever. So this could be wherever you're at. So, you guys have been doing this for some time. You might have, like, you've already established yourself, and it's probably gotten more successful than you ever expected. Am I right? Like, are you guys?
Definitely. It had more interest than we expected.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you guys have done an amazing job, and everybody knows about you guys. And so I think it's really fantastic what you're doing and how you're doing it. And so what I think is, like, okay, so here's where you at. You've got something, you've started it. Now we want to do like first quarter goals. What is our first quarter goals? Everybody sits down and goal sets. Like, okay, what happened last year? Let's review all the numbers. Okay, well, then let's review what we want to do this year. And everybody tends to do numbers, right? Everybody tends, I mean, I'm in real estate now, and I still am very actively selling real estate in and around the Oakland County area and up north in northern Michigan. But, I mean, I'm like, everybody wants to do numbers. Yes, the truth is in the numbers, but if you're looking at some holes in your numbers, or maybe you're looking at yourself and you're like, gosh, I'm kind of, I just don't feel like I'm doing the right thing, or I'm grinding out and I'm making myself sick and I don't want to do this, and now I'm a janitor. I don't want to be a janitor anymore. It's time to take a minute and try to figure out what your most definite purpose is. And one of the processes I learned this process back in the day with Blair Singer, and he learned it with Mac Newton, which Mac Newton is he's a black belt superstar. He's like this, forgive me, but I don't have his whole resume, but he is amazing. He's a coach for big athletes and big time business people. And these guys put this together, and it's so simple, but it's so impactful. So it's finding your most definite purpose. And, like, what is it in me? What is it in you that what do you really want? So the biggest gift I can give anyone is to help them get what they want. So sometimes we just don't know what we want because we're shoulding everything. Well, I should do this. This is where this is taking me. So I'll give you an example. I had my salon. We were doing this great thing. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden somebody came to me and said, okay, I think you need to open up another salon. And I'm like, well, I should, because that's the next step, right? You open up another salon. And, I should do all these things. And then, so I decided, I'll never forget it. I was out painting my back deck. I had this bright idea to paint. And every time I'm in a quandrum with myself, I paint something. It's just a really weird thing. So I painted my deck like 3 different colors. It was really stupid. And why did I do that? Because it was so off. And anyways, and it's a ginormous deck. So I painted my deck, and I'm just praying and I'm talking, and I'm like, should I open this up? Should I do this? Should I do this? I'm like, well, I should, because this is the next step. In my heart, I was feeling huge resistance because I wanted to sell the one I had and go open another one and do another one and get that up and then sell the process of opening and operating a salon. So it was against my plan. But I said, okay, it's just came here. It must be something I'm going to need to do. So I did it. And it ended up being one of the most biggest mistakes I ever made. It was a huge flop. And talk about learn something from it. I learned so much from it. It was the beginning of the end of that whole thing, because what I learned really through that is that never doubt what you're saying to yourself on the inside. You know, your intuition is there for a reason.
Yeah.
And you need to learn to listen to it.
Do you do for your coaching? Do you do individual coaching for groups, for like large, small, everything? And do you do all of it?
So here's, yes, I do all of it. And so here I'm just getting started with this again. I'm just saying this for the last 2 years since COVID, when COVID happened, I found a simple little zip drive. It had all kinds of information on it. And I was like, wow, this stuff is good. Who wrote this? And I'm like, I realized I wrote it. And I was like, wow, this is good. You know, you got to get this out there. So I called my good friends Blair at Blair Singer, and I started working with them. I started learning this whole online space. I'm used to being in an audience in front of people physically, you know, talking to a classroom, interacting with people. So it's very difficult for me to learn this whole online space. So I've spent these last 2 years. I have a Explode Your Database Purposeful Networking program that is ready to launch. I'm ready to get that going. I also have the champion goal setting, which I've sent you guys the link. So if you want to post that,
we'll share it out.
okay, good. And then what I'd like to do, I don't have a date for that. I'd really like to do like a workshop where we're all online doing a workshop. I do have a little secret. There is somebody.
And love secrets.
You like secrets?
We won't tell
Okay.
anyone.
Okay. It's in its infant stages, so I don't have a ton of information, but I'll let you guys know. So Cindy Crandall you guys know Cindy Crandall with New View Nutrition?
The name sounds familiar.
Okay. She has helped me in my health journey for a very long time, and I just love her. She is the exact epitome. She is exactly like me. We grinded, we ended up having successful businesses. We both made ourselves sick. So then we get ourselves healthy. She sold her business. She's doing online space, online coaching, and doing all this with helping people with their nutrition one-on-one, which is, we're getting back to doing our most definite purpose, right? So anyway, so her and I have teamed up, and we're going to start going around and speaking at different events and doing a health and wealth kind of program with each other. And hopefully we can help our community put their selves first and make their business all that they wanted it to
I think
be.
it's an interesting combo because I think the two are usually separate, especially when, I mean, there's a lot of coaches focusing on one or the other. And I think to like bring that together is a great mix.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people find info and find your resources?
Well, you can always email me, or you can call me, text me. I do one-on-one. So right now I'm working one-on-one with people. I have not started my group coaching yet. I will do a group coaching. I think it's impactful to do a group coaching, you know, a small group, because I think you learn from each other. And the way I teach is I bring things out. I'm not up there dictating what it is you're to learn. I'm bringing things out. So the more we can get from each other, the better it is.
Yeah.
So right now, I will say my website is being built. And so the best thing to do is the link that I gave you, fill that out. The information will come to me, and I will be reaching out to everybody and see where it is that you need, what you need, and meet you where you're at.
Perfect. We're going to put it on our website. So later today, it'll be on connectingclarkston.com. We'll also share it out on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
No, I think it's great. And I do appreciate you like zooming in, Instagram living in. I don't even know what you call this.
Whatever you call it.
What is the name of this? I don't
It
know.
was great. It was
Yeah.
great. I hope I didn't chat too much and
Oh
take up too
no.
much time.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share that we didn't touch on before we wrap up?
Well, I just want people to know that, coaching is, to get somebody, how can I say this? A coach is going to is going to give you the hard things. So people say, oh, well, do you really want to call yourself a coach? Yeah, I do. Because I'm going to tell you the hard things. I'm going to help you get where you want to go. Even if you don't know yet, you will know.
Yeah.
And, the goal setting program is a tool in the whole scheme of things. It's just one little tool that can help you get to where you're going, and you can take it with you your whole life. There's other things I teach too. I teach things about how to quiet your little voice, that voice inside of you that says, oh, you can't do that. Or, the one over here says, yes, you can. Stop fighting. Da, da, da. And you got these two fighting, how do you get them to shut up? You say thank you and move on. And then you learn to listen to that inner voice and your intuition, and you learn to take care of yourself. Everybody talks about mental health right now. It's all a part of it. It's so different now than what it was back in the day when I was, in my 20s and 30s and owning businesses. I mean, I've owned several businesses, and it's very different today what people have to deal with. There's so many other things, and so it's just, a coach will help you hold your feet to the fire, hug you when you need a hug, and, give you the cheers when you need it.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know,
I
I
think
guess
that's
that's
great.
I guess that's it. And if it's not fun, don't do it. So
Right.
that's just it. That's just me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
life's too
no.
short.
I do think that's a great balance that you're striking between set the goal, get to the goal, figure out what the steps are that you need to take, and obviously work really hard towards your goal, but don't get sick, like you're saying. Like, learn from what I did right and learn from what I did wrong. And I think that's a really valuable lesson that you're helping people learn.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
and
appreciate
in
that.
your businesses, I've tailored it down because there's so much, and I've tailored it down. And by third quarter next year, I'll have my course up and running. But I'm thinking it's all based on systems, sales, and building a support team. Whether it's hiring people or whether it's your own team. Like I said, I have a health team that keeps me healthy. I have my girlfriend team that keeps me emotionally sound, right? We all have our teams of people. So what type of team do you need? And then at the end is, how do you build a lasting legacy, your business legacy? So what I lacked in having, that I don't want anyone else to have, is to have that plan of, how do I get out of this? How do I go off into the sunset and do the things of my wildest dreams? And that is leaving lasting legacies. So whether it's preparing your business to sell, um, preparing your mindset to, I don't know, maybe you're going to take your kid, your teenager, and you're going to school them to take over your business. How are you going to lead that on? So, there's things we don't think about, that, especially when we're young and we're doing the things. We don't think that we're ever going to get tired. But let me tell you, you do. You get tired, and you go, oh, I am tired. I need to take a break. Or how do I get out of this and do something a little less harsh on my body, or out on my soul and mind and all that.
Yeah, no, I love the vision, like looking forward and the lasting legacy. And I think, Ann and I have both worked with consultants and coaches in the past. And I think a lot of times, like, it's involved travel. And I think what's interesting about this, and one of the things why we wanted to talk to you, is just because you are local. And I think we do have a lot of local people who are doing interesting things like this and can really help businesses.
Yeah.
So I
There
think,
are, and it's really cool because I would love to do in person.
yeah.
So if somebody decides to work with me and they're in the local area, of course, I would be like, let's, I've done this. I actually did this during COVID time too. I got some ladies together that weren't afraid of each other's germs, and we got together and we sat around my kitchen table and we brought something to eat and we all coached each other through it. Like we just had like a session. And I would love to do that kind of thing. So yeah.
One other thing too, I was just thinking about, and I know you and I have talked about this before, but where you said the what is in the follow up, like
The
give
fortunes
us a little
in the
taste.
follow. The
The for
fortunes in the follow
the
up.
fortunes in the
Yeah.
follow up. Yep.
Yeah.
So
So it's a full circle thinking, right? And that's I'd like to say that came from me. I made that up. Full circle thinking. It's, like every time you go to start doing something, where do you start? Where are you going to end? And what are the gaps in the circle, right? So how can we close these gaps? And full circle think it. So if let's say you're gonna, you want to meet somebody new, and that's what I'm doing right now. Honestly, I'm just going to be transparent. I don't have all the answers right now as far as my, get on this program, and this is what I'm starting, and this is what I'm starting. It's all brand new, and I am filling in all the gaps, and I am full circle thinking everything. So what are some of the obstacles that I'm going to get? Well, my obstacle was getting used to all this technology.
yeah,
Right. So that has been the hard part. And then, they say, oh, you got to post every day. Oh, you can follow me on Shelly K Says on Instagram. You can follow me on Shelly K Says at Facebook. My website's going to be done, and my online platform is Solo Boss University, where it's just going to have a plethora of information in there for any business owner. Personal development, from sales to systems to building a team, scripting for sales, how to network, the old fashioned networking. I mean, especially this area is doing amazing,
yeah,
like blowing me away with all of the networking and things that they're doing, from the Chamber of Commerce to, you girls and everybody else is just doing the social circle is just amazing. I love, love, love what is happening. But I'll give you an example. I just went to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and I looked around the audience, and I walk in by myself, and I don't hardly know anybody. I'm like, wow, this is a whole new group. Okay, who do I want to see? I go over to this table, and there's one girl, and she's sitting by herself, and she's like this on her phone. I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk to her, get her out of her shell.
Yeah.
So I sat down, and she was hired by a hotel that was supposed to be finding businesses to do their events for them in their event room.
Right.
How is she going to do that with her head down, buried in her phone, right? So as I got talking to her, she started coming out of her shell. She was a dynamic person, dynamic. And then the people started sitting down next to us, and I introduced her, and I opened up questions so that she would have to answer. So I kind of was like the facilitator of her meeting, and she ended up meeting two other people. And after it was all done, I said, can I ask you a question? And she said, yeah. I go, um, are you comfortable with these kind of environments? She goes, I am so shy. I just can't stand trying to meet new people. I said, why are you doing this then? I go, first of all, and second of all, you are very, very good. So
yeah.
what are you telling yourself in your head? She goes, oh, I don't know, that I'm not good at speaking with people. I said, that's a lie. Lie. What else?
Right.
That's a lie. You're lying to yourself. She was very, very good. So I brought it out, and I actually coached her right then. And I'm like, don't you ever let me see you ever again with your head buried down in your phone again. You will be up there talking to everybody. And as I watched her leave, she talked to 3 people on her way out. I'm like, there you
That's
go.
awesome.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love
That's
it.
good. Yeah. Well,
Yes.
we really appreciate you coming and talking with
Well,
us this
thank
morning.
you so much. You got me talking. I think I used all my words for the day.
That's it.
You're done. Oh, well, we
Uh,
appreciate, yeah, what
yeah.
a journey you've had, and we're looking forward to seeing what you're gonna, how you're gonna
Yeah,
affect people in our community going
I hope
forward. So that's really
hope
exciting.
so. I hope so. I'm ready for you guys. I
Do you
just
have
don't do
a
what I do what I say.
Do you have a drink you can cheers us
Yeah, we're
with?
cheersing a little toot.
Mine is be fearless. Oh, look, my
Oh,
lipstick's on it here. We'll go this way.
I think we're good.
there,
Well,
cheers.
That's how we
okay.
wrap
Oh,
up.
that's cute. Yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
I like the bottom. Is that a cork?
Yeah.
I
Be
think it is.
fearless.
That's very cool.
You
Thank
guys have
you.
a great
Thanks.
day. Thank
All
you so
right.
much. I
Thanks, Shelly.
appreciate you. Bye
See ya.
bye.